Have you ever wanted to have a stronger connection with your intuition, to make wise choices for yourself? You need to learn and practice in a supportive environment. My workshops bring you together with other like-minded women to learn and grow in your self-confidence, ease, and trust of your intuition. Here in Workshop Wisdom, you'll find some of those inspirational insights that we share.
Hey, did anyone see any fairies when they were out in the backyard?
I saw maybe leftovers from a fairy party.
Yeah. Well, we do have fairy parties out there, as a matter of fact. And I'll give you a little background on this. My oldest daughter, when she was very, very little, she developed a fairy for herself. Well, actually, I developed her, but she had a fairy. This beautiful little fairy named Bluebell. And Bluebell would come into the house, and Bluebell would leave little gifts for her in her toys. So she had one of these doll houses, those plastic doll houses, and Bluebell would leave a little crystal or a little pile of sparkles in the oven that she had to open up and find, or in the fridge that she had to open up and find. And over the years, and with her sister, it's evolved into this amazing relationship that they have with their fairies. They each have a fairy. My youngest daughter's fairy is named she's a strawberry fairy named, oh my gosh, I can't remember her name. The strawberry. Anyways, okay, she has isn't that weird that I can't remember it? Bluebell and, Sunny the strawberry fairy, that's right. And they have these little boxes that are up behind Cheryl there, and once in a while, the fairies will come into the house and they'll leave a little gift in the box, and then the girls will leave little notes for them. And when the fairies come en masse, they leave sparkles everywhere, because everyone knows that fairies sneeze sparkles. That's where sparkles come from. You knew that, right? So the whole sidewalk, the whole backyard, the whole front yard is absolutely covered in sparkles and fairy treasures. So every once in a while they come home from school and clearly the fairies have been by, and they get to spend an hour running around screaming at the top of their lungs, gathering up all these different fairy treasures, which are these beautiful little, let me see if I have one in here that I can show you, because the fairies are the ones that make these little glass thingies, right? And marbles, fairies make marbles as well.
Okay.
Michael's gets all their marbles and these little things from the fairies.
From the fairies.
That's where they get them from.
Fairy factory.
The fairy factory, yeah, and little things like those little crystal balls, little fairy crystal balls. So every time I go out and garden, I find all these little fairy treasures that the fairies have left out there. What I know to be true about fairies, and it was the fairies that actually launched me on this path, really. Beyond this ache that I had to do this kind of work, but not really know what it was that I was aching for, I just knew there was a something. It was literally standing in Bolin Books and having Doreen Virtue's book, Healing with the Fairies, fall into my hands off the bookshelf. And it had been tucked in with all the angel books. And it wasn't fairies as in Dungeons and Dragons fairies, and fairies in the way of Walt Disney. It was fairies in the way that I grew up, which was the big book of fairy tales, and these beautiful drawings by these amazing English artists with all the little fairy faces in them. You guys know what I'm talking about? Yeah. And that's what I grew up with, is pouring through these books and finding all the little things that other people didn't see. And my mother used to say to me, my mom would say to me, "Do you see that fairy?" And I'd look at the tree and there'd be a little face in the pattern of the wood looking out at me. Now, practical science is going to say, well, that's your brain looking for a pattern. We're hardwired to look for facial patterns all over the place. Okay, I'm willing to accept that, except that not everybody sees them. I've had people come to me after I've given talks and in tears saying, "You're the first person I've ever met who sees what I see. I've been seeing these things my whole life and nobody knows what I'm talking about." And my mother would say, that's the Fae. You have the Fae in you. You have the ability to see and accept that what you're seeing might be something other than the logical explanation. It is the logical explanation, and then it is something other as well at the same time. And I still see them everywhere. I'll see them in the linoleum. I see them everywhere. And when I do, I know that either my brain or my being or both are reminding me of the whimsy, of the mystery, of the magic, of the mystical. And the more precise our scientific instruments of measurement become, the more we see the auras and the energy waves and the sound waves, and the more we can now listen to the noises that plants make and communicate. Well, no, I mean, I know that they communicate with each other. And the reason I had you go out in the garden and do that exercise is because I wanted you to have the experience of connecting with something in your environment that you don't normally probably think about in that way. I mean, we live in this beautiful city filled with the most incredible gardens and plants. And look right across the street. We've got this Gary Oak Preserve. We are so fortunate here. And yet many people just walk down the street, and a plant's a plant. The forest is green. And what they are failing to see is everything that makes that up. And it's why I do the photography I do. I want to get close, and I want to see the petals. I want to go inside that flower, and then I want to share the way I see it. I don't want to muck around with Photoshop. I want you to see what caught my attention. So I want you from this day forward, when you're out walking or in your house or wherever you are, I want you to have your eyes open, big anime eyes, and take it all in, drink it all, and then share it with those who you feel you need to share it with.
Lots of laughter, sometimes tears, always learning and growing. This is the work that I do, and I would love for you to join me. I'm Megan Edge, master healer, educator, author, and owner of Psy-Chick Healing Studio. I would love to connect with you. You can reach me by email, megan@psy-chick.net, or by phone, or you can visit my website. I really want this for you.